Hello and welcome to this quick motion tutorial. In today's lesson we're going to look at how to create some very simple 3D text inside Motion 5. So the first thing we need is just a blank project which I have in front of me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by adding some text using the text tool down here, and I'm going to drag out and there we go. And we'll just go for something as simple as that. I'm going to make the size of it bigger by using the size slider bar. If you haven't got your HUD open, then down here above the timeline next to the camera icon is the HUD icon. Give that a click and it should come up. So I'm going to make my text nice and big. Okay, so we've got some text, but at the moment it's very flat, two-dimensional. And what we want to do is we want to make it more 3D. So what we're going to do is select the 3D text and timeline, go up to the object submenu at the top and hit replicate, and the screen's going to go a bit crazy. Let's sort that out. Let's go to the inspector. Inside the inspector you should see the replicator controls. Change the shape from a rectangle to a line, and then under the start point and end point change the X settings for start point to 0 and the Y setting for end point to 0. Now what we need to do is tick the 3D box, and let's add a 3D camera. So go down and click the camera icon in the bottom right above the timeline. Ensure you choose switch to 3D. We're going to have a 3D camera here, and let's start by panning our camera around, and at the moment we can see we've not actually got anything going on here. So let's go back into our 3D text. In the replicator controls, if we hit replicator there, what we need to do now is change the number of points, and under the start point and end point now, let's change the Z settings. So if we drag out the Z settings for start point, we'll see that the text is now growing outwards. If we move the points up, we can see, if we have a look here on the 3D text, there's still these kind of unseemly jagged edges where the lettering is. So let's change the points and increase the points up to 20, and we can make it a bit smaller. And I'm going to set my view back to fit, and if we pan around now we can see we've actually got some 3D text, but at the moment it's a bit hard to read any of it because it's all uniform in its colouring and we haven't got any shading. If we go over to our layers, we can see there's an invisible bottom layer that says 3D text, and that's our original text layer. When we applied the replicator to it, it disappeared, so it was unticked. Click that now so we can go in and go into the style options here. Let's pick one of these styles. So there we go, 3D text. That's looking good. So I'll just change to faux 3D. We could also try ice or neon, any of these settings here, and we see we've got some very cool effects. Let's go back to what we had first, faux 3D. So our fake 3D. It seems kind of apt really. So now what we can do, if I just move the replicator along, there we go. So we've got a very, very basic fake 3D effect here. And if we pan around it, we can see it's pretty cool. So I'm just going to set my camera to do a very basic animation, building on what we learned in the last lesson. So I select my camera, hit the red record button just beneath the viewer window. I'm going to move my timeline slider along and use the orbit and pan tools here. And I'm going to hit record again to stop recording. And now we should have a very basic piece of 3D text with a very simple camera animation on it as well. And there we go. So creating 3D text in Motion can be quite simple if we use the replicator option from the object menu. Key things to remember when doing it are make sure that when you do it, that you open up, first of all, that you choose line from the options, open up your start and end point, set the X and Y to 0, and then in the Z setting, change that option there to create the 3D effect to pull the text out or drag it back in. I hope you've enjoyed watching, good luck, and I look forward to seeing some of your 3D text.